Now, recently you went head-to-head with Mehdi Hasan on Al Jazeera English in London in a debate which many believe Mehdi won hands down. Now, he has a book which is called Win Every Argument. In it, he describes the massive levels he goes to prepare for a debate like the one he had with you, including role-playing with his staff for days on end in order to come up with comebacks for every single argument that their guest may come up with. I would say without a doubt that he probably did the same in preparation for your appearance. So I was wondering how you feel about that debate and what you did in preparation.
First of all, I was invited to attend that episode. Originally, it was described as an interview, then it became a debate, and then you saw what happened in London. I would say, as far as that episode is concerned, Mehdi Hasan was not doing an interview because he never allowed me to finish my arguments to start with. Then it is not a real debate because debate has rules and format. It needs to be balanced, is that right? And Mehdi really does not engage me in a balanced way about a debate. Now, to the best of my understanding, it became a kind of lynching. But if Mehdi Hasan wants to lynch somebody, I was the wrong person to be lynched. Now, I would say Mehdi Hasan, for that episode, really did not emerge as a reporter. At best, he became a warrior, a wolf reporter. And he completely lacked balance and eagerness to understand why the interviewee or the debater had a point to make. He refused to listen. And he demonstrated a high level of prejudice and bigotry and bias, a refusal to understand the realities. And also, I think he lacked basic knowledge about the important matters we talked about. I would say by the end of the day, he didn't achieve anything because, as I mentioned, the mega trend that there is only one China in the world and Taiwan and Tibet and Xinjiang are parts of China never were changed. And I think Mehdi Hasan needs to accept the realities that he is a reporter and he needs to have the decency and the balance and the impartiality in engaging people in doing his journalism rather than becoming a bigot, try to push for a special agenda which is against the realities in the world of today.
Yeah, speaking of balance in journalism, I did find it quite dodgy that Mehdi pretended to call on random audience members for questions, and then it just so happened that he called on a Xinjiang separatist, a Tibetan separatist, and a Hong Kong separatist. Do you think that was fair?
First of all, I think all this is pre-orchestrated with a particular agenda. You mentioned some of these people who rose up to ask questions. I was particularly shocked that Uyghur lady, whom Mehdi described as a unbiased person, for example, actually holds a U.S. passport. She is a U.S. citizen. In that sense, she completely has no standing at all in intervening or interfering in the domestic affairs in China or pretend to represent a legitimate voice about the Uyghur people. Now, Mehdi even said that he knew some Uyghur people in Washington, D.C., whom he got along very well. Fine. However, if any Uyghur people in the United States want to push for a caliphate agenda or even want to turn Virginia into a caliphate state, for example, they will meet with the brutal force of the federal government, the fierce opposition of the American people, because people in the United States will never allow them to do that. So why should Mehdi or anyone else in the world expect that if anyone, Uyghur or otherwise in China, who wants to turn Xinjiang into a caliphate and who want to launch jihad against anyone else, for example, why should anyone in China allow that to happen? No, we will never allow that to happen, and we will never allow Xinjiang to be split away from China. As, for example, decent Americans will never allow any Uyghur or anyone else to turn, let's say, Virginia into a caliphate and to allow anyone to pursue an agenda of extremism, terrorism or separatism in the United States or anywhere else.